which way we go and which route, but we're back down Michigan Avenue. We're told we're going all the way to Springwells, which will be quite a walk.
Try to swing out here to see. Yeah, just very spread out right now. Feels like there's more than one front line.
Yeah, it looks like things are really stretched out. We don't see the Roach Mobile with us. And there were some people, one of the women from By Any Means Necessary was quite angry. It's like, it's not a movement if you don't move, so you gotta move. But some people aren't. It looks like things are breaking up a little bit.
All right, well, I think I'm going to sign off for a minute till we see what happens. Come back to freep.com. We have several stories there. One by Darcy Moran recently that talks about how the police changed their tactics during the protest.
And we'll be tweeting throughout. You can follow us at Freep or at Elric. And when this comes together, we'll let you know. If something happens before then, we'll certainly jump on. So keep watching our Facebook page. And this program we've been told is going to happen something special. We still have no idea. As soon as we know about that, you'll be the second to know right after this.
Thanks so much, ML. We'll fire back up when something happens or we feel, you know, it will be informative for you. So thanks so much. I'm Mandy Wright with the Detroit Free Press, out for day 17 of marches in Detroit and then around Detroit and all over the world, basically, for the death of George Floyd. Thanks so much. We'll be back.
Thank you all for joining Liberty ICT. I will be joining right back here momentarily. Please stay tuned. Take care, everyone.
Exit 3 off ramp, and now they're
I'm just saying that.
and we've got some
George Floyd! 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 George Floyd!
You should have come to the rally. You should have come to the rally.
Come on, Karen. Come on, Yes, I'm gonna get that. Then when they put a fist up, we'll leave. I'm not asking nobody to get arrested. I will fix this police right now. It is fist up like that. We got bail money. CT bail fund is on our side. We're taking this in a second.
And so it looks like got a group of around 50 that just marched from the Yale Police Department headquarters. They marched down Trumbull Street towards exit 3. Went about a couple hundred feet up the off-ramp, blocked traffic. Now they're back at the intersection of Trumbull and Orange, deciding whether or not to stay, potentially get arrested.
Did reach out and let me know that we have eyes on some Trump supporters and they are armed. And I'm telling you this now because if you have been here, you have heard the message from the black women to white people and white bodies to prepare to protect us. We are safe, we are fine now. We are doing nothing but we are only peacefully protesting. These people are far away from us right now, but white folks, there's a reason why we ask the black folks to come to the middle so that we can feel safe and together. And there's a reason why y'all are on the outside right now. This is an open carry state. We don't have to be fearful right now. They're here to intimidate us. And you may or may not know, but black folks ain't easily intimidated. So, in the off chance that those individuals do make their way up this street, or this street, or this street, all of my white folks, now is the time. All you gotta do is turn around, lock your arms together, forget COVID, because we out here, and stand, okay? There's nothing that can happen to us, and if there is, it's out of our control. We know what we're here to do today. We are peacefully protesting. This is centered and built around love. We appreciate you doing what you can. Now we're going to get back into our speakers, and I want everyone to remain confident that we are safe and protected. I had a couple of our Native sisters were here the other day, blessing us at the teach-in, and these times were prophesized. The revolution, I'm here for it too. That's why we out here. We are greatness. This is our time. We are protected. And we are stepping into a higher timeline. So, Kai's gonna introduce our next speakers. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and introduce her. Our next speaker is also a woman who has been here on the regular, on the front lines. Her name is Sarah. Please welcome her up to the mic.
You did a good job with that.
Is it on now? It is. Amplification. Yes. So my name is Sarah Tournay. That's Sarah with an H, and it's spelled Tornai. And if you add me on Instagram, I've been documenting some beautiful moments in this movement. I've been a little bit hesitant, very, very hesitant to call myself a leader. And if you were here when Jay spoke and the woman after or before her that was wearing all black, you can kind of start to understand why. Like, I'm here because I was marching next to and taking orders from and leading women like that are such clear leaders that I don't feel like I necessarily have a place to speak. I grew up feeling like I don't really have a place to speak. At every job I've ever had, I have to work twice as hard to be heard. In this movement, I have put my physical body directly in front of armed police without wearing a bulletproof vest. The day that there was a car that drove into the crowd was the day that I went to Lowe's and bought my own generator and bought my own 1300 watt speaker and brought it to the front line so that the frontline people could actually hear what was going on. Right after the car drove through the crowd and the shooter shot once, and then we self-policed so effectively that he was disarmed within seconds. And in that moment, when a gunshot fired, I had the microphone and was kind of talking to the people on the front line. I put my microphone down and I ran. And another black woman, who's smaller than I am, she picked up the microphone and told the crowd, "Stay calm, stay still. Do you see how successfully we just handled that ourselves? The people handled that, and someone got shot, but no one died." That was a black woman in that moment who kept her cool. And then after that, I played a Black Eyed Peas song and just some music because it was an extremely traumatic moment. I have had one complete psychotic break during this 16 days and a couple panic attacks. I definitely have PTSD. I have been out here at various times doing various things, and right now I have some really, really clear demands. So the first time I made any demands, I stood up on a trash can with a megaphone, and I was like, "I, Sarah Tournay, want to meet Jenny Durkin, Inslee, Bezos, and the owner of Goodwill, and 100 other protesters that will be chosen in a way that I don't yet know." That was the very first time I grabbed a megaphone and was just like, "I have something to say." And I've kind of been saying that, but it's been augmented, right? After being here for so many days at various times, right now, what we need is a council of black women to take on leadership together, because there's a lot here that is completely unacceptable. For instance, our security system right now is doing the best that they possibly can in a high stress situation where we have had to pull things together that were not there. You know, it's like our security system doesn't even have a way to communicate with each other, or there to be a sign-up sheet to find out like who shifts are who. There's no training yet for de-escalation. And yet we are up against the United States government, who is highly armed, okay? So we need to figure this out real quick. Either this movement needs to fundraise to hire actual unarmed security that can keep us safe, because the shenanigans that happen here between 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. are completely unacceptable. And I, as a black woman, have not been able to be heard to save my life. I am here between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m., not the whole time I have to sleep. And every single time I have seen people in danger or doing something idiotic, my voice gets shut down extremely quickly. Because people look at me and they're like, "Who the fuck is she?" I'm the person who stood unarmed without a bulletproof vest in front of police and National Guard, because I will put my body in harm's way. If they shoot me, they shoot me. If I die, if I go to prison, I will die for this cause. Do you understand? I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid because I have nothing to lose, because this system has failed me at every single turn. the education system, the healthcare system. Every single industry we have is deeply racist because this country has hoped that we would forget that slave ancestors were never paid for their work. They want us to forget that this land is stolen. They want us to think it's normal that we have to slave away to pay rent and just feed ourselves. This is not normal. The way African Americans are treated in this country is not normal. And I need y'all to do a few things for me. First of all, keep helping amplify Black women's voices specifically. I also need some trans women to be amplified and have the microphone. Without the leadership of trans women in this movement, none of this shit would be possible. It's a hostile word. I need you to read the book Black Against Empire to understand all of the ways that the US government, the CIA, and FBI will use all sorts of tactics that are super confusing against us without knowing your history. There's a reason that most people don't actually know the history of the Black Panther movement. It's because they started to succeed. They started to succeed in such an intense way that Black Panther members who were in their teens were getting shot in their homes, in their beds asleep. What was so threatening about the Black Panther movement? They stopped asking white people for help and they started creating their own police and their own economy. They took care of their communities. Protesting is important, but also community work is so important. I have a dream of taking over the Goodwill in Seattle, specifically the Goodwill on Dearborn, that's the size of a super Walmart. And I would like to just completely redo the business model of the Goodwill. All of these things are getting donated, and yet I see homeless people every day that are poorly dressed, and I know there's poor families everywhere that need the free things that are sitting in the Goodwill that got donated for free. I also would like to tax Amazon. I have, the thing is, I could hold you here for hours talking about how the police in New Zealand are unarmed and can de-escalate situations without murdering people, and how maybe people from New Zealand should come and teach people in Seattle how to be peaceful police. I have all sorts of ideas, and like one speaker before me said, you need to let Black people shine. We already have the ideas. We just need the resources. Yo, there is not enough money in my bank account to pay for the 3 months of rent that I owe. I don't have the resources to implement my brilliant ideas. And it's not just me. I'm just a voice that's speaking for a million other Black voices that have brilliant ideas but no resources. So yeah. What else do I have to say? Yeah, if you see me around and I'm telling you that you are putting our collective safety in danger, if I see you around and I'm telling you that you're being an idiot, please know, I'm an idiot sometimes, but I need you to listen to me as a Black woman because I am a fucking soldier and I'm intelligent. Also, I need you to read the book The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn. Because right now there is a lot of racial tension in this country, and some of it is healthy because white people need to deeply, deeply question the foundation of their lives. But some of it is that the government wants to tear us apart. And in the book, The People's History of the United States by Howard Zinn, there's multiple accounts of every time there was a revolution that was sprouting up in the US, the government had some way to have infighting and just split people apart from the inside, from the outside. When reading history books about slavery, I would always wonder, if there were so many more slaves than masters, because there was always 30 slaves or 100 slaves and just a few white people. Like, why couldn't they just overpower them? And now I'm starting to really get it. The fear that they instill on us, and the fact that they are so highly armed when we are like with nothing. It's scary. It's scary. It's so fucking scary, but there's always been way more of us than there've been of them. Imagine if we rush them and just disarm them, right? Look how many people are here right now. When the police were there with the barricades, there was maybe like 50 of them, 40 of them, 30 of them. Look how many more of us there are. And in my heart, this right now is the equivalent of a slave rebellion. I do not feel free in this country in any way. I feel like with appointment. No, we're doing our best. Okay, I'm gonna be at the night watch tent trying to talk to and organize. I'm going to be sitting there at the night watch tent, just seeing if I can make sense of this clusterfuck situation that we are in, because the security around here, like, this is not a joke. This is serious. Our president is batshit crazy. The police are batshit crazy. They're highly armed. They've got tear gas, they've got guns, they've got all the bombs, they've got like probably sonic weapons to make you lose your mind that we don't even know about. We need better security, because there's a lot of young people here that I look at and I'm like, you're just a few years from being able to be my kid. And if my kid was out here, even though this is like a dangerous situation, I would really want to make sure that there are people there. And who are you to tell me what to do? This is my space. No. Yeah. So it'd be awesome if there was like a team of security that was all women, you know, like. But I don't know if there's enough of us, and I'm pretty sure that enough black bodies have been in those roles of like putting ourselves in danger. That I think the black women here have better things to do than to act as the security team. But tonight, that's what I'm going to be doing, because I see a need and I fill it. I encourage every single one of you to take responsibility and ownership and leadership wherever you can, while as humble as you possibly can and listening to the voices around you. I also need people to start meditating, doing whatever spiritual practices you need to heal your soul, treat your If there's stress and anger and tension in your body, we need to address that. If there is deep trauma and sorrow in your heart, you need to address that. Our emotions are real, our feelings are valid. Your health is super important, and you are useless to this movement if Testing. There we go. T-O-R-N. I want to piggyback everything that Sarah just said, actually. So last time I was up here, I brought some what could be very frightening news. But I also want to touch base. You know, we do have the right to bear arms in this country, and in this state in particular, we are that are part of the John Brown Gun Club that are actually here to protect us, and they have weapons. Thank you, Sarah, for that beautiful transition. We have, you know, it's been really good time around here. So while we have people that are in the area with hate in their hearts and intent to intimidate, we also have people here with weapons to protect us if it comes to that point. And we're all gonna keep in our mental that this is a peaceful protest. We are all safe, we are protected. This is prophecy and we are healing. Also, this is a call to those of you who are feeling like you want to plug in a real way, and if you have the time and capacity to be on that overnight shift, plug into that survey. The information that we get from that survey, we are going to give to the leaders that have been organizing and have stepped up. I've already had several people just today reach out to me and they're like, I want to be involved in a real way. Black people. We want to give those leaders a team to work with. We can't do this on our own. So please take that survey. Check in with the people that you see around here with weapons, because there is a need for them actually. And we're looking at a long game here. So, enough talking about guns, y'all. Kyle's gonna bring our next speaker on the stage. Welcome Kyle one more time. Like I said, I'm too tall for this. My bunk groups and everything. So sorry if I keep making weird noises. There's a lot going on right now. I'm going to take a deep breath because it's going to make me feel better being on stage, and hopefully you guys can do that with me and kind of get everybody on the same level. Everybody ready? We're going to take a big, deep breath in through your nose and then a long one out through your mouth. You ready? All right, let's go. Breathe in. I needed that. I hope that was good for you guys too. I'm going to announce our next speaker. Kind of a big deal to me. I just met her a couple weeks ago, had a little meeting, got to hear her speak. She's an activist, a community educator, a queer and black mom. She's building movements and change. She's been doing that for the past 20 years. She's active in Block the Bunker and the No Youth Jail movements. Yeah, isn't that dope? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And she's also running for State House in the 37th District. Yeah. All right, so everybody give it up for Kirsten Harris Talley. Sorry, we're just sanitizing.
Hey fam, I am so ecstatic to be here with you all, you beautiful souls today. I'm so happy the sun has joined us, although I didn't mind a little water. Whew. Could you have imagined a month ago that we would all be sitting here together? Could you have imagined we'd be sitting with an empty precinct for police behind our backs? Could you imagine you could look around and see white people willing to put their life on the line globally for black lives? I'll be honest, I did not. and I'm an activist, which means I'm ridiculously optimistic. Because deep in my spirit, I know that a true future of liberation is possible. That a true future of inclusion is possible. That the intersection of my identities as a Black person, and a queer person, and a femme, and a mother, and an activist, and a wife cannot be ignored, but can be acknowledged and elevated. I'm running for State House because so much of the work that we have been doing in this city, in this county, for the last decade is limited by the tools and permissions that we have on the state level in so many ways. It is not lost on me that only a week ago, I was standing with many of you behind a barricade where not only our local police, but the State National Guard was making sure we could not have access to the streets that, quite frankly, are ours. Our tax dollars pay for it. Our lives are the ones that built it. And the fact that people are literally in a pandemic, a global pandemic, standing up for a moment of pause that was forced upon us to say, no more, and to be an active, collective action together in the same direction is literally unprecedented in the entire history of the world, let alone our corner of it. And I keep reflecting on what was different this time. And I say what was different this time because there is not a person who's native, whose land is occupied here, who has not been saying for all of that time, my life matters. There is not a Black person who was stolen from our ancestral and indigenous lands, enslaved, brought across oceans, further enslaved, fought and won a revolution to try to end that enslavement, only to have it codified and shifted in our Constitution and our 13th Amendment. Who has not been saying my life matters, take action. So what was different this time? I have watched how many videos of Black lives being stifled and snuffed out. All of us have. And when we go to the roots of where the abolition movement started, and I say the abolition movement because I am a proud abolitionist. I will not stop until this is done. I cannot stop until this is done. It is the history and resiliency of my people that requires it. Early on in the abolition movement, the traction point that created a mass movement that started the fight to end slavery, which we are still actively in, was when white people with privilege and means were willing to put their life on the line too. When we think of what happened with the transition of slavery, it is the slave narratives that told the story that Black people and Native people who were enslaved could not tell. And let me be clear, it was structural and intentional. It is not a coincidence that we were told we could not read and write and it was illegal and our life would be snuffed out. Because they did not want people to hear the story of enslavement. For folks who do not know, we have one of the best collections of original slave narratives in the entire country at our library at the UW. After all of this, I inquire you, please go to those archives and read those stories. Because those stories are the stories of our ancestors, talking about the realities of their life. But those stories were collected by white allies. White allies who were willing to go in secret to people who were not given the privilege to tell their story and to document those stories. And then to work in secret with publishers and others to make sure those stories got printed. And then to work with others in an underground to make sure those stories were heard and resonated and communicated to other white people who could then take their privilege and wield together with the front of Black lives to make change. And that's what we're going to need. And that's what we're going to need every day. The fact that this space has been built as an autonomous zone for freedom and liberation is beautiful. But I also know what Sarah was talking about what action will look like to create that, is going to take a lot of work. We have been told that we cannot be safe without enslavement control. It's not true. It's not true. We have been told the people who protect us are the folks who come in after some harm has happened in our communities, and for most of us inflict more harm. I don't know about you, but I'm a black mama.
Yes.
I ain't calling the cops. The only question on my mind before I call the cops is, are they going to make it better or worse? And rarely is the answer better. Not for me and my children. It's not. I grew up in rural Missouri, in the heart of the Bible Belt. A state that, if you remember your 5th grade civics lesson, literally the Dixie Line during the Civil War split that state in half because of the Missouri Compromise. Which means I lived in a place that both had the narrative that it was part of the northern struggle to keep this United States together, and the preservation of a legacy of 4 years of revolt that happened in the South. And let me be clear, the Civil War never ended in this country. It just went cold. But this, the collectiveness of this could be the end of the Civil War. This could be the beginning of collective liberation. This could be action where all our lives actually matter, because we make sure black, queer, poor lives matter too. This is the moment we can end the Civil War. This is the moment we can say we're not going to acknowledge and be okay with state violence that would kill us before giving us freedom. We're not going to do it no more. We're tired. And we deserve a rest. As hell, tired as hell. Every bit of grief within you is valid. Every facet of emotion in that grief is valid. The anger you feel is valid. It is righteous. I feel my anger deep in my belly when it comes up. I don't know where you feel your anger in your body. And what I do is I sit with my anger and I say, are you grief? Are you sadness? Are you frustration? I identify where that anger comes from. And then I feed that anger through my heart chakra. Through where I show my love and my compassion and my action. And I ask, how can I take that anger and turn it into love and action that's going to save a black or native life today? I ask myself that every day. Right? You standing out